Dr. Rodriguez, how are you?
Fine, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to be here today. I'm going to ask, we've had a few questions from you, and so I want to make sure we tackle those questions.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask Ms. Crosby to join me up here and Ms. McAdam to join me up here so we can tackle your questions respectively.
Right, so one of the big questions is the additional funding that you're going to get. Does that make a difference now?
So I'm going to share just some prepared remarks for you this evening, and then we'll jump right into all of those items, okay? If that's okay?
Oh, absolutely.
Excellent. All right, thank you. Well, thank you for the opportunity to share these few thoughts with you today, this evening. Our budget this year prioritizes employee compensation. 100% of the millage increase that's requested will go to employee compensation. I want to say that again, 100% of the millage increase being requested will go to employee compensation. This is important because currently, as you've heard, we rank 53rd in beginning teacher salary. Our goal is to be at the top. We believe that this budget will accomplish that, and it will positively impact salaries for all of our employees so that we can be more competitive as we seek to attract new teachers and new employees to our system. Currently, in education, there is a nationwide teacher shortage. 50% of teachers entering the profession leave by the 5th year. Earlier this year, colleges of education in South Carolina shared that statewide 8% of teachers leave due to retirements, family moves, or other reasons. They shared that they are graduating enough to fill 4% statewide. That's a 4% difference right off the bat. Our team is out there recruiting vigorously, and they're not only recruiting against neighboring school districts or other school districts within the state, but because of those numbers, they are recruiting nationwide and against other school districts across the country. Yet, they can't commit to a specific salary for prospective employees yet. Our existing teachers want to be able to afford to live right here in Beaufort County where they work. We've heard some of our teachers share that this evening. A few weeks ago, our team provided the council with a summary presentation on our school district budget. I want to thank you for bringing it forward to a second reading. And I want to request your support to move it forward again. I want to bring Ms. Crosby up to deal with the first set of questions.
Good evening. As Senator Davis was talking this evening, I knew this would be a hot topic, and so I have prepared some notes. I actually emailed the State Department Finance Director, Nancy Williams, as we were sitting in this meeting and got some information from her. The latest action of the legislature actually occurred on Friday, and so we have not received projections of revenue yet. And so I confirmed that with Ms. Williams during this meeting, and she said that we will be receiving them soon. So I'm not sure when that will be. However, our budget is based on the House budget. The $4,000 is reflective of the House expenditures, and the revenues were an earlier projection of revenue. Since that earlier projection, we've received 7 different projections of revenue throughout the budget process. So changing every time we receive a revenue projection is not a realistic way of moving through the budget process. So we recognize there could be additional revenues. I don't believe it will be any sort of windfall. Actually, many times the funds are just reallocated from one source, say EIA funds, Education Improvement Act funds, into the general fund. So that's not new money. They're just moving it from one hand to the other. So that additional funding is going to be allocated throughout the entire state. All school districts in the state, and then it will be applied to the index of taxpaying ability, for which Beaufort suffers greatly in that calculation due to our wealth. So my proposal this evening has not changed based on Friday's discussions with the legislature. And at this point, I think the path would be to continue down the same path we are traveling in second and third reading. And if any additional revenues are surfaced through that discussion or through the projections that we receive and the final deliberations of the state budget, then we would certainly bring those matters back to the school board first for further discussion. So it will be recognized if there is some sort of additional revenue sources available, and we will make sure to bring that information forward to the board. So the issues of vacancies and contract length, I'm going to ask Jill McCadden, our Director of Recruiting, to come up and speak briefly about those.
Good eye on the 8 o'clock show if you want a motion to extend.
Yeah, just as soon as she's done.
Good evening. Thank you, council members. It's nice to see you all again this evening. Our tally today is we have 109 certified vacancies open at this time. 27 elementary, 31 middle school, 32 high school, and 19 special education. That differs from the last time I was here. We have been recruiting furiously. We had our first new hire orientation today for 40 new hires, and I really dreaded the slide on how much money you're going to make. But we've got a lot of people watching. So to your question, Logan, teachers, most of our teachers are contracted for 190 working days. However, there are exceptions. So if you look at the pay scale, there are many people who do start in July. For example, high school counselors, there are 240 employees, 210, 205, instructional coaches. It's complicated, but most of the classroom teachers are contracted for 190 days. Thank you.
Thank you.
Extend the meeting.
Yes, now I'm going to need a motion to extend the meeting because the...
Motion to extend beyond the 8 o'clock hour, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Rodman.
Second.
Mr. McKellen made the second.
I don't want to do it, but I'll do it.
Okay,
Mr. Michael, sir, you can go ahead and do it without objection.
yes. This will be done without objection, and I see no objection, so we will go beyond.
Yeah, that's just, he's too
Yeah,
slow.
he's going to do that. Nobody listened to my invocation about being on time, so we might as well extend. Okay. Is there any other member of the public who wishes to make a statement before we take our vote? Seeing none?
Can I just ask one question? How many people here are in support of the budget? I saw hands before. How many people in the audience? Oh, okay, great. Just wanted to be sure that it was everybody. Okay.
So it is duly motioned and seconded to move on to the third reading. Yes, Mr.
I
Brown?
have questions.
Oh, you have questions? Go ahead.
Help me understand a little bit. I didn't realize we were 53rd, and now we're going to go to first. Tell me what the numbers are. What was the starting salary when we were 53rd, and what are we talking about now? If we're first.
$37,928 was the 53rd. That did not include the locality supplement. So that is the starting teacher salary that is posted on the school district's webpage and is posted at the state level as the state in comparison with other school districts. As we allocated this year with current year dollars, a 3% cost of living increase, we were able to move up to $39,066. So we moved the needle to 40th during the current school year with a one-time payment of that cost of living increase. So an additional $4,000 takes us to $43,066. And then the board made a motion and approved to move $2,500 of the $5,000 supplement into the base salary as well. So it will now all be reflected with the exception of half of the locality. So the total number is $45,566. Now I want to stipulate something. We do believe that will get us in the top of the state. However, we have surveyed multiple school districts and assumed that what others would do, the maximum amount of 4,000. And so our assumption is that we will be at the top in the state, but everyone is maneuvering and changes as the state legislature makes changes. Others may change their minds at the last minute and amend their budgets. So it is a possibility that we will end up in the top 5, hopefully. But we'll be watching it very closely. But our aim right now, and we're positioned well to be very competitive for that front runner.
Okay, the reason I'm asking is a couple-fold. First of all, I think you penalize yourself by not putting all of it in the base pay, because people look at the base pay and decide whether they're going to even talk to you. So I think you're shortchanging everybody by having the local supplement not in the base salary. Secondly, at our last meeting, my sense of our discussion at council was that there were a majority of people who would be in favor of increasing the millage if we needed to make sure that we were at the top and taking into account cost of living, because our cost of living is greater here than it is in other places. And so, in fact, I challenged for you all to come back and tell us what is the millage increase that you would need for us really to be number one, including the cost of living. So I'm hoping before we get to third reading that you will do that, because I think our council would be agreeable to that, frankly, because I think if it's all about the teachers at the end of the day. And, if we're having a lot of turnover and we can't hire and people come here and then they find out they can't live here and then they don't come, it costs a lot of money when we have a lot of turnover. So I would really like to see us, I could be wrong in my sense of council, but I did sense that there was a general agreement or concern that we really needed to consider possibly going a little higher on the millage to really take care of the teachers.
Any other comments before we take our vote?
I have one more comment. The latest from Housing and Urban Development, the median income for a family of one at 80% for Beaufort County is now $48,550. So we are losing ground, definitely. That's 80% of the median income.
One more quick statement, Mr. Chairman, if I could. So doing the math, I have it pulled up right here. The pending puts it at 45,566.
Yes.
Then you have the supplement with the statement I made earlier. And like I said, I would advocate for it. I don't know how we do that. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if we need to negotiate a millage, but that would put the base over $50,000 in South Carolina. Just starting.
Beaufort County?
Beaufort County.
50 is the number. It's always made sense to me relative to discussions we had a couple months ago.
We always called it, where I was, the drive for 5.
There are some considerations we would need to make. Special revenue funds as well. About 20% of our staff are paid for with special revenue funds, and those funds are not increasing. Some are actually decreasing, such as Title I funding. So we do the general operating budget will absorb the impact of any increases that are not able to be covered in special revenue funds as those diminish or stay flat. So we do need to make sure we're sustainable in our progress toward that 50,000 or some magic number. There is no magic number actually, because those costs continue to rise. So
I know you can calculate it better than anybody else in this room, so tell us what it is.
Okay.
Chairman, Tanya, that answers my question about what you're going to do with the extra money. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay. If you didn't hear, Mr. Llewellyn said it answers his questions about what are you going to do with the money. Okay. If I read the council, the second reading will be without objection. And I see no objections. And we are now moving on to the third reading of that. Thank you very much for coming.